Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of Together Apart by Natalie Martin, performed by Justine Eyre. He who loves you with all your dirt. Ugandan proverb. 1. Marry me, Sarah. Adam blinked. Had he really just proposed? He had. He'd proposed marriage. He'd proposed marriage? Sarah's eyebrows shot up. What? Maybe it was the alcohol. Yeah, that's probably what it was. The booze must have mixed with the romance in the air and turned him soft. But then, if that's all it was, why did his stomach sink to the floor at her reaction? Did he really want to marry her? He looked across the table at her. Yes, he did. Seriously, let's get married. As he said the words, the idea cemented itself into his consciousness like an affirmation taking hold. He bounced his leg under the table. How had this happened exactly? He drained the last of his beer. The last thing he'd expected was to get sucked in by the charms of Santorini, with its reputation for sunset weddings and proposals. He looked at the sky behind Sarah. It was a kaleidoscope of colours, and after watching the sun dip below the horizon against a purple and orange backdrop earlier, he had to admit it was awe-inspiring. The air was still warm out on the terrace of the restaurant, and the view around them was picture-perfect, right down to the cruise ship cutting through the sea in the distance. The place lent itself to romantic gestures, and now that he thought about it, proposing seemed like the natural thing to do, even if he hadn't exactly planned on doing it. I know I don't have a ring, but we can get one this weekend and make it official. It was probably for the best that way. Sarah wore quirky jewelry, like the tiger's eye pendant hanging from her silver chain. He couldn't imagine her opting for a diamond. He moved his chair to sit next to her, held her head in his hands and planted a kiss on her lips. Every nerve ending in his body buzzed with adrenaline, just as they had years ago when he'd done a bungee jump in Thailand. He'd stood on the edge of a water tower, looking down into the blue-green waters of a lagoon, with his heart in his throat and his stomach bouncing with nerves. But as scary as it was, it had nothing on this. I love you. I want you to be...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?